Good morning. Welcome to Brewtiful Morning on Main Street in Rutherford. This 30th day of September. Thank all of you for joining us each Friday morning at 8:30 as we try to bring you up to date as to what's happening in our community. As you can see, this is VIP day, so we've got some special guests with us. We've realized we had to redecorate, change some of the furniture around in our community, but you're going to hear about it as we go through. As you can see, my buddy Jackson's not with me this morning. Since he's not in school this morning, I'm sure he's sleeping in, or at least he's reading up, taking some jokes down so he can remember for the next visit with us. But thank you again for joining us. Tell your friends and neighbors to be with us each week. Thanks again to Doug and Magnolia for getting us online, keeping us working in the right direction. But it's great to have you with us. We got a lot of important information to tell you about today, and stick with us. And if you got some other friends, tell them we're on the line. We're ready to go. Guys, I'll turn it over to you and let us roll.
Like the mayor said, phone a friend. It's a beautiful morning Friday here in Rutherford, and we're excited to be live with you. You know, when we started Brewtiful Mornings, we started with, really our entire town team, our police chief, our fire chief, public works director, really just trying to get information out. It started with, the time that we had to kind of pull in during COVID, but now we've found a way to reach out. So it's good to have Chief Engel and Chief Harrell, Chief Engel from the police department and Chief Harrell from the fire department. And kind of the news story of the day, as anybody should know, is Hurricane Ian, and it's impending rainfall and wind here in the Carolinas, and specifically here in Rutherfordton. And so wanted to take an opportunity to welcome in the chiefs and let them kind of talk a little bit about storm prep, some of the things that they've been up to, and then really just some tips and tricks of how to manage a storm individually at your home, or if you do find yourself out on the roadways during a storm, or let's hope by the time that Ian gets here that it's not a hurricane anymore, maybe a tropical depression or just some rain. So Chiefs, good morning, and thanks for being on Brewtiful Mornings this morning.
Good morning.
Morning. Glad to be here.
Chief Harrell, I'll start with you. I know, that the fire department has a little bit closer relationship with our county emergency management folks. Not that that's any less than the police department, but what are you seeing or hearing now about the hurricane or the tropical storm as it's getting ready to make landfall down in South Carolina?
So as of right now, the latest from North Carolina EM on the weather is showing we're in the 20-mile-an-hour range. Wind gusts could see 30 to 40. So let's hope it stays below the 40 range. We get much above that, that's when we start seeing some major damage. And another good thing is, looks like precipitation has dropped some overnight with the track of the hurricane now. So it looks like it's pushing a little more east of us. So I-77 corridor in east will see more of that heavy rain, and we'll see, possibly 2 inches. But it is a hurricane, and those bands can bring some locally heavy flooding. So potential for flash flooding. So
yeah, that's never good. The flash flooding is what's never fun. That's never
right.
Fun to manage. Chief Engel, what about you guys over at RPD? Any kind of storm prep things you guys are working on, or just tips or tricks for motorists as they find their way out and about?
Yeah, we're prepared for the storm. Barricades are ready to be put out on roadways if flooding does occur. If you do see a barricade, please do not go around it. Do not cross it. There's a reason why that barricade's there. If a roadway's flooded, we don't know what might be under that water. So please don't cause us more issues having to come rescue you than what we're already having to deal with.
Oh, so like if it's raining really bad and I drove to work and there wasn't a barricade on my way to work, but then when I was coming home and the barricade was there, like it didn't just blow into the roadway.
No,
I shouldn't just drive around it, and
no.
No.
But we do
Yeah, we've had that a time or two here in town.
Yep. We
Um,
speaking of rescues, we are prepared. Our Swiftwater team is prepped. We got a few working today, and our boats are prepped, but we do not want to use them. And typically that comes from either people not leaving their homes in flood prone areas or people driving through flooded bridges. And we've got several, not only in town, but out in our district as well. So that are typically flood prone. So just keep an eye out for those barricades, and even just watching, some of them can come up within minutes sometimes. So
yeah, and back a couple years ago, I want to say it was like 2020 when we had some significant flooding events. One of the things that we did here inside town is we put some potential flash flood area signs up, just to kind of warn motorists that these areas are prone to flooding. Chiefs, either one of y'all want to kind of speak to some of those areas? I know the town has made some dramatic improvements on South Main Street with some new pipes and some stream restoration work on Cleghorn Creek, but we also haven't had significant rainfall, events. So if we do get a band of 4 to 6 inches, that could be a good test for us on that new improvement. But you guys want to kind of give folks an idea of some of the areas that we typically see issues?
Most issues the police department sees is the dip on Charlotte Road, between Old Charlotte Road. Water tends to pile up there. Lynch Street and 221, there's a drain there that usually cannot handle the amount of water that comes through. I'm hoping this will be the first time we do look to see if 221 will not get flooded like it normally does. There at the Crestview Park entrance. There's another couple on Edward Street around Crestview Park. I'm pretty sure that Court Street, hopefully it'll be fixed where the sinking used to occur. I guess we'll find out if that's going to work again too. Other than that, I think we will be okay, I hope.
Yeah, and the areas that you mentioned, our public works team, they're not on this morning, but they've been busy this week, just checking storm drains, cleaning storm drains. They did a lot of clean out on that storm drain there at Edward Street, checked all the storm drains on South Main. So, a lot of times what happens is, there might be some vegetation or debris that's stuck in there, and that, just adds during the high rainfall events. But our guys have done a great job proactively checking those this week. But Chief Harrell, I know there's some other areas out in the rural district that have been kind of flood prone or subject to flooding in the years past. Do you want to talk about any of those this morning?
Yeah, so some just for flash flooding, typically around Highway 108, Mountain Creek. It runs over to Tom Camp Road, Miller Road near Thompson's Contractors. Some of those have flooded with very, very little rain. Some of those creeks up into the roadway. Some of our large areas that takes Broad River flooding is Cox Road and Union Road. That typically takes a good bit of water over a few days. So hopefully we won't see any problems out of that. I know Lake Lure had started preparing a few days ago to drop lake levels to be able to handle that influx of water. So hopefully with those preparations, it'll save on Broad River flooding downstream. So.
Yeah, and I want to kind of talk about that a minute too this morning. Is want to give Lake Lure big thanks to lowering the lake levels down a little bit. One of the things we see is usually after the storm, after it stopped raining, Lake Lure has a drainage area that goes way beyond the Lake Lure and the Hickory Nut Gorge, and so what happens is if the area up near I-40 or into Pisgah gets a good amount of rainfall, say Saturday afternoon, the Lake Lure may not see that until late Saturday night or into Sunday morning. And then, they have to raise the gates and let it go. And then that water reveals itself along the Broad River, out on Baber Road or Union Road, 6 to 8 hours later. And so, sometimes we'll see those flash flooding events in the rural fire district, well after the storm has passed. And that's the reason why, is because it takes time for that water to reach our areas. And so just be, ultra vigilant, traveling around, especially even into Sunday. Even with this kind of rainfall, is not out of the question for us to see flash flooding events on Sunday as that water comes down the hill.
Yep. Now, we've been talking a lot about water and flooding, but also with this wind, we could see some trees and power lines down. So just be cautious of that. Depending on how widespread the damage may get, sometimes Duke gets behind on getting around to that. So you may see barricades or even caution tape taping some trees and stuff off in the roadway until those power lines can be handled later on. So, and also public works crews working out in it, fire, police, just be cautious of that.
Yeah, and don't forget, definitely I'd share the link here on the outage map. Duke Energy has a really good outage map where you can go in, you can report outages in your area, you can see outages in your area. You can click on those outages. It'll tell you some great details about that. And then you can also get outage alerts for that area. So definitely want to go ahead and charge up your cell phone batteries. Make sure that those are good and charged in case we do have a power failure. But you can sign up for those outage alerts on Duke Energy's website or on the outage map. So if you're curious about, when your power is going to come back on, they can send you text alerts right to your phone or right to whatever address you put on there. So it's pretty seamless. I've signed up for outage alerts continuously in the town so that I'm aware as phone calls come in, and it's amazing how fast, I'll get the text message before I get any phone calls from citizens. And it's pretty spot on with their estimated times. Mayor, you had mentioned at the beginning of the show that we had to move some things around. So obviously we're getting a little bit of rain coming in this weekend. You want to give everybody the news about the wonderful Hilltop Fall Festival and the new date there?
Well, we've been talking about it for a long time now, and everybody started getting excited. And in reality, Meg, you can tell that we had a full house schedule to be here tomorrow on Main Street in Rutherton to include a Dunkin' booth and all the activities surrounds that. So I know it was a big disappointment for those participants, but we're excited. I believe we rescheduled for maybe is it 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
October 22nd.
So we're excited. You have to adapt to a lot of activities sometimes, and I compliment all of our staff that's been involved in that. It's been a challenge to do that, and behind the scenes, I know it took a lot of work. So I thank for all the things that you've done, but we've had to schedule those dates to try and fit a lot of other people's schedules, and so we've moved that. So of all the excitement that you had coming up till tomorrow, you're going to have to hold that in for a few more weeks and come out and be with us when we do have it on Main Street. It's going to be a very exciting time, and it gives us a few more weeks to do some planning that maybe we need some planning to do. But thanks everybody for working with us. I think staff made the right decision, as we have no idea of what the weather is going to be for the next couple of days, and we would like to have a real good day where people and families and vendors and Dunker in the Dunker booth comes out and be's with us. So I thank Magnolia and Doug, your work that you're doing on setting that up, and we're excited about getting them back on Main Street in a few weeks.
Yeah, like the mayor said, we really don't know what the weather is going to be tomorrow. The forecast has changed all week, but the one thing that's clear is we're going to get a lot of rain, we're going to get a lot of wind, and it's probably going to be a washout at least today into tomorrow. Sunday doesn't look so bad, but would have been a miserable experience for our vendors and our visitors out on Main Street. And then not even to say that we said in our Facebook post for the cancellation or for the postponement is, it takes a lot of our team, our police department, our fire department, our public works department to really pull off a fantastic street festival like that. And if we are experiencing rain, flooding events, power outages, trees down during a festival, then that taxes our team to be able to respond to, our duties for the rest of the city and what's going on with our festival goers. So it just makes more sense for us to have a more pleasant experience to do that on a really nice fall, crisp day in Rutherfordton. So we're excited for the 22nd. If anybody has a magic solution for a non-rain dance or great fall weather, we're all ears. If there's some kind of pumpkin spice, pumpkin pie recipe that your grandmother had that you had to make in order to have a nice fall day, let us know. I'm sure we could get Ginger Dancy to make one up for us. But yeah, I know the mayor kids, and he tosses it back and forth between me and Magnolia about the weather. So I've been here 8 years. Magnolia, you're pushing a little over 2, right?
Mm-hmm, 2
So,
and a half.
I mean, 10 years experience, and we've only got it wrong once. So I'll take that. I'll take that.
And
Well, go ahead, Magnolia. I want to let everybody know I took both of you off the responsibility list this year. You didn't know that, but I felt a very high compassion for those people. So you were not responsible for it this year.
Oh.
Thank you. And I do want to mention that we did contact all of our vendors. If you were registered for the Hilltop Fall Fest and then you're unable to make the new date, we will be issuing refunds until October 7th. And then from there, we will have a better idea of how many booth spaces we have available. And then we'll be reaching out for people because there's still a huge interest of getting a booth spot for Hilltop. So then we'll be opening registration back up for the new festival date. But that'll be after October 7th.
Well, let me just say, too, there's a lot of, to all those people who's watching, there's a lot of work goes into putting a festival on, a lot of contact. We want this to be the best experience that it could possibly be for not only those people that come and to enjoy the day, but all those vendors that puts their business out there, and some of their livelihood. We want it to be a best experience for them also. So it's a very challenging time to make the decision to change, but yet we want it to be the best it can be. And weather is such an important part of a festival out on Main Street. It's like an outdoor wedding. You are nervous for the weeks prior to the event. And then if you see something happening that may affect attendance, you have to make the decision right then. And so I compliment our staff for doing that. And we want it to be the best experience that it could possibly be on Main Street in Rutherford.
Yeah, and I want to add on to your comments, Mayor, about Main Street. When we do a festival, when we bring the festival there on Main Street, the reason we do it on Main Street is to highlight and showcase our downtown businesses. Now, of course, you may think that's a little interesting comment because we put booths and all up and down the street. But one of the things we've always done here is we have tried our best that when our Main Street businesses want to be a part of the festival, we make sure that the booth space, right in front of or right next to or in the vicinity of that business is showcased for that business so that they have an opportunity to showcase their offerings and their business to the community for years to come. And there's been so many changes on Main Street of late. And so if you, if the rain does hold off on Saturday and it ends up being a nice Saturday afternoon, come on out and see Main Street, but definitely come out on the 22nd because there's a lot of new changes that you're going to want to be a part of. By the 22nd, Main Street Market will have moved into their new location. This weekend, October the 1st, I think it's rain or shine. You can check their Facebook page, but Impulse Art Studio is opening up and having their grand opening this weekend. So what a great weekend to stop by, get some art supplies. And if you got a little bit of cabin fever, you can do some really neat art projects inside your house with the kiddos or just, kind of a creative release. Club Car has got their sign up and they're pushing towards their grand opening. And those are just a few places. We celebrated last week with Invigorate Skincare Solutions. Ross Consignment is opened up now. I'm sure I've even missed a few Magnolia along the ways. Sunny Days, if you're looking for Sunny Days, they've always got a rotating inventory of really unique and fun stuff inside there, and you can never go wrong with their fudge. But it's just been fun to see Main Street transition and grow. And so that's really what the festival is about. So make sure that when you're there on the 22nd or even this weekend, that you're, looking into, peering into, and thanking our Main Street businesses for what they're doing to keep Main Street vibrant.
And since you mentioned that, Doug, I'm thinking when we have our new date set up for 3 weeks, we may have a new restaurant that will be open by the time we have our festival on Main Street. So that's going to be exciting news also.
Yeah, like I said, Main Street Market, they'll be in their new location on the 15th. And then we do have another restaurant that is working on plans to fulfill the space that will be voided by Main Street Market's current location. Unfortunately, they do not plan to be open that fast. It takes a little while to get a restaurant back open, but they are looking at possibly by the end of the year being ready to launch a new restaurant in the space that Main Street Market is going to be moving out of. So that's good. They're already making their plans. Magnolia and I actually met with them and had some lunch. Was that this week, Magnolia? Time flies. Yeah, earlier this
Monday.
week.
Yeah.
And some great plans that they have, great visions for that space. And it's going to be fun to watch that kind of come along and be something else on Main Street that just complements all of the other businesses. That's going to be the fun part.
And I don't know if y'all have seen, but Impulse Art Studio, they actually have an online store. So you're able to shop online and pick it up in store. So that's really exciting that our businesses are, continuously working on serving and finding new ways to kind of get out there.
Yeah, and I see Ellen's comment. I don't know if you shared it while we were talking, but about Infinity for Christmas presents. They have got some really cool stuff up Infinity Games. They just recently redid their window display, redid their window art. They were going to set up, they're going to be set up. They're not even going to be in front of their studio. Or their space. They have so much stuff. They're going to be in the street there at 3rd Street, kind of with a full display of games during the festival. But if you haven't been by there to check them out, you need to go by. They've got games, relevant games for now, but then relevant games for each of the generations, going back and new additions and revisions of those games. And it's kind of fun to relive yesteryear for us or anybody that's on Brewtiful Mornings this morning, but then also some of the games that are ultra relevant right now that kids and youth are playing. So definitely go check them out. It's not just it's games for everybody. I'll just leave it at that.
Mm-hmm.
If you have not been on Main Street lately, a lot of our businesses and organizations have decorated the street for the season, and they may have taken them in due to the weather coming on, but some great displays all over town. So come in town and look around and be sure to come to our festival.
Speaking of that, and then I want to go back and ask a couple questions of the chiefs that are with us this morning. The town did put out some fairly large displays. We put out some really nice fall displays. Our public works team did that, and they looked wonderful. We've got a tractor over at Woodrow Jones. We have a classic pickup truck right here in the upper parking lot between us and Foothills Commission. Thank them for allowing us to use that space for that. But just due to the high winds and the rain that's coming, our team did pull down a lot of those decorations. We didn't want that stuff blowing away. We didn't want it, getting destroyed in the storm. So they pulled a lot of that back yesterday, and then Monday they'll put it back out. So don't be discouraged if you drive through town. You're like, oh, they took down the truck display. It'll be back. We just didn't want that stuff blowing around on Main Street and causing any issues for the police department. So with that, I wanted to kind of turn over to Chief Engel. Chief, you got any tips or tricks for folks that have to find themselves out on the roadways during storm events or during high wind events? Any tips or driving tricks that you may have just to kind of allow it a little safer for folks that have to find themselves out on the roadways during these type of events?
If you have to be out in it. Just be very vigilant, slow down, go under the speed limit. Hydroplaning is a big issue when it comes to rains and vehicles. So just slow down. It's better to get there than not to be able to get there.
Chief Harrell, anything from your experience with the fire department that you'd like to offer? I know sometimes we tell folks to stay home or stay off the roads, and sometimes just life happens, and that's not something that folks can do. Maybe they work a second shift or a third shift, and they do find themselves out and about. Any tips that you have from the fire department end of things?
Just about like Chief Engel there, just be extra cautious and give yourself more time to travel. If you can get in a lower profile vehicle, a taller vehicle tends to, the wind hits them harder broadside and causes issues. So some of those low profile vehicles work better in high winds. So, but if you don't have to travel, I'd plan on just hanging out at the house, get out and do what you need to do maybe this morning and get back home and just plan on hanging out for a while.
One of the things I was going to say real quick, I know the mayor wanted to jump in, is if you could help us out. One of the things that we see in events like this, even when we kind of make it through the storm with no power outages and that kind of thing, definitely want to go out in your yard this morning before it starts raining. We probably got about another, I'm just kind of looking at my little weather forecaster and what I know from seeing on the National Weather Service. I'm going to say we have about an hour and a half or so, safe hour and a half before the rain comes in. Get outside, pull those trash cans away from the street, get them stored properly, get them off the sidewalk, get them away from the road, because an empty trash can at 35-mile-an-hour winds is going to wreak havoc on everything. It's going to be, you're going to be calling us Monday morning telling us that we took your trash can, and it's actually about 4 houses down. So pull those trash cans in, and then just look around the yard. If you've got some fall stuff out, maybe some cute fall signs that are making the house look great, maybe you want to pull those in. Just any kind of debris that could be blown about. Go ahead and take the time right now, cover that up, bring it inside, and protect your stuff.
I just wanted to compliment both chiefs that are with us today and also Keith Ward. Those three departments do an outstanding job in beautiful weather. But when bad weather like this, possibly bad weather, comes along, it just adds to their responsibilities. They have to be on alert and ready to go at a moment's notice for anything and everything that happens. And that puts a lot of pressure on those people that are having to get out there in bad weather and do some things that a lot of us don't particularly care to do. So I want to compliment their staffs and thank them for the work that they do in everyday life for the town of Rutherford, but also in times like this when they're willing to go out there and protect our families, our property. I compliment them for what they're doing. They have to. Thought I was talking to myself there for a second.
Sorry, I have the Facebook page pulled up and it didn't have that crossed.
Well, that's no problem. I thought I heard myself ask a question. I was going to answer it. So.
Repetition causes memory, Mayor. So we're just making sure that everybody heard exactly what it was. Don't worry about that. But yeah, for me, when we go into storm prep, it's actually, kind of fun. We get a chance to really, what people don't see behind the scenes is every week on Mondays, our team meets, all of our department heads and leadership team. We meet Monday mornings and talk about, what's going on for the week. How can we better serve and be together as a team and kind of make sure we're all informed. We do the same thing for storm prep. We've met, 3 or 4 times this week on storm prep and just trying to make sure that all departments are covered, things that we can do to help each other out. And it kind of really allows us an opportunity to shine as a community to kind of respond to things and be very proactive. So I want to give a big hats off to our entire team. Everybody's been working hard this week on top of normal job duties to make sure that we are as prepared as possible for storm damage and kind of gearing up for that. Chief Harold, one of the things we were talking about before we went live was just kind of safety after the storm. And I'll just say it on Brewtiful Mornings. We were talking on the radio this morning to the folks out of Florida. We're talking about that sometimes after the storm, there's more injuries and more catastrophic injuries to folks during the cleanup efforts. And so, I know that there's a lot of things that go into tree removal and vegetation removal that you guys do at the fire department. Any safety tips that you'd offer to everybody out there that, if they do get a tree down in their yard, a couple of things to check before you just jump right in there to go clean up that tree?
Yeah, I would just, first of all, make sure there's no power lines involved in it. That's something we do before we remove a tree, is always check for power lines. You don't want a surprise there with a live line. Definitely. So, and just, again, caution, make sure you know how to operate a chainsaw properly before you just go to clearing. And definitely don't operate it tired. If it's a long cleanup effort, you may have been working for a while and get tired, and that leads to mistakes and accidents. So operating heavy machinery, things of that nature. Also, another tip is, if your house does flood for some reason, your basement or whatever, and there's a water heater, could put out your pilot light in your water heater for your gas. So that's always something to be cautious of, is making sure you don't have a gas leak for when the water recedes. And you want to call us, and we'll get a hold of the gas company and get that squared away if you smell that, or if your carbon monoxide alarm goes off.
There was a comment about our hours. Yes, so we did make a call yesterday. We are going to close Town Hall to the public at noon today, and also Norris Public Library at noon today. That's in anticipation of the rain and the wind. We want to be mindful of our staff. But the other thing that we do is, a lot of times we end up transitioning some of our team members into roles for storm recovery and storm mode, I guess, if you will. And so even though Town Hall, will be closed, that doesn't mean we're not working. So that means that if our call volume picks up later this afternoon, sometimes what we've seen historically in situations like this, with tree down calls, power line down calls, and calls for service, sometimes the dispatch center that dispatches the entire county gets a little overwhelmed, and they have a great staff up there, but the storm protocol kind of allows us to self-dispatch. So they'll load when you call in, they're going to load your information, but they may not actually dispatch our fire and police or public works services. So we end up self-dispatching that. So we may have our finance director, our town clerk helping out at the fire department, or here kind of working through our officers and doing that kind of thing. So it allows us to more quickly respond. It takes a little bit of pressure off of our dispatchers that are dispatching for the entire community. And so we want to be prepared for that. And so that's one of the reasons we went ahead and closed. And then also, safety for our team. If we see the wind pick up, let's go ahead and get our team members home, get them safe. So if there's employers out there that are, watching this, if the wind speeds start to pick up later this afternoon and you're seeing that, it might be a good opportunity to go ahead and release, let your folks go home, be safe before the wind speeds continue to increase. So just to kind of give you an update right now, we're at like 7 to 10 miles an hour right now on the wind speed, and it seems a little windy outside, but the forecast is for that to get up to 30 miles an hour. So multiply this, wind that we're getting right now times 3, and it could be a little damaging.
And I think that's just what you got to mention about a while ago. We're trying to be prepared to face whatever happens. Hopefully nothing happens, but yet we have to be there ready if and when something does. And that is one of the great things about our great town of Rosedon. Our staffing that we have is very responsible citizens of this community, and we compliment them on the dual roles that they play each and every day. So it's great to be a part of this wonderful town and work with wonderful people we do have on our staff.
The other thing I want to say is couple of years ago, Magnolia, chime in on this. A couple of years ago, after some flooding, we produced a document that we call our Natural Hazards Mitigation Plan. And what we did was we worked with all of our departments and tried to come up with a plan that was easy to read for our citizens, easy to read. It's got signups for emergency alerts. It's got all of the contact information. So phone numbers for Public Works, Broad River Water Authority, DOT, Forest Service, Duke Energy, REA. It's got information about, recommended things that you could put in a kit for things. And then really some tips and tricks for thunderstorms, QR codes that take you right over to NOAA radio. So if you are, you can actually do NOAA radio on your phone. And it's just kind of all of the different things that we may experience. And so I just encourage you, I shared the link there. There's some great information in that to just print it, keep it at home. And you can do this is a good segue. October is Fire Prevention Safety Month. You can do a home escape plan. Chief, do you take it away on home escape plans? There's a whole page in the disaster guide about home escape plans. Tell people kind of, what that is and why that's important.
Yeah, so that's actually this year's theme for Fire Prevention Week is the fire escape plan. So mainly that is any room you're in your house, you should know 2 ways out of that room. That's what we teach your kids from pre-K to all through elementary school is know 2 ways out. So whether that's a door or a window or whatever it may be, that's part of your fire escape plan, knowing those routes and know how to get out in the event of a fire.
Awesome. So yeah, I shared that link. Great information there. I saw a comment come in. I think it was from Miss Murphy about entering the phone numbers. But yeah, our hazard mitigation plan, great little tool there to just have everything right at hand, right at your fingertips, and all the everything that you need. Go ahead and print that out, or just save the link on your phone. You can save the link on your phone to that. But try to find a way to just get all that in one document for you. And there's even information about, if you did have a loss, some tips and tricks about insurance, going ahead and getting some photos, doing the drawings, having a place to make notes for your insurance company. Go ahead and get your policy numbers wrote down on that if you want to. So just overall, some good information there. Chief Engel, I know that you are upset about the Duncan booth not being here this weekend, but there's some folks that have made comments that they are ready for the Duncan booth on the 22nd. Could you tell everybody why you're so excited about the Duncan booth and where all of the funds raised from the Duncan booth will be distributed this year?
I have a feeling I'm going to get wetter today than I would Saturday. But however, the Duncan booth was to raise funds for our Shop with a Cop program that we hold annually every year. I believe last year we raised around $16,000, $17,000 for Shop with a Cop. This year so far we've raised right at $17,000. It's getting harder each year to raise that amount of money, but we are trying our best. We currently do have a raffle going on. So if you'd like a ticket for that, please give us a call. We can get you a raffle ticket. But please come out on the 22nd because all the money that's raised in that Duncan booth will go towards our annual Shop with a Cop program.
And I have to be honest about, since we drew Clint into on this Duncan booth, very early in this process, when he found out he was going to be a part of it, he asked me if he could borrow Jackson's floaties that goes on your arm. And I told him that Jackson discarded those a long time ago, and I'm not sure his would fit on his Jackson's fit on his arms, but I appreciate him checking into recycling. Yeah, I think he told me that's what he had in mind, was recycling. So I'm excited about the whole activity.
I'll be glad to purchase some new floaties.
I'm sure.
I was going to say. Chief, I was going to ask, I know usually what happens is they sell balls, a couple of dollars a piece, that kind of thing. But, if somebody really wanted to dunk you in, and let's just say they weren't a good shot. You know, they didn't have the ability to really get the ball, you know, up to the booth. I mean, would $100 do it? You know, like $100 donation to Shop with a Cop. Is that like a free dunk for the chief at $100?
Definitely.
Okay, good deal.
And that would probably
if
come
you-
from family members.
If you'll do it for 100, I'll do it for 100 too. So anybody that wants to dunk me that can't throw a ball in, $100 donation. I'll even go for the double dunk.
Sure, I'm there with you.
I'm gonna have
Maybe-
to spend a lot of money.
Jonah has 100 ready.
That's the only time.
Yeah, it's all for a good cause. You guys have always done a great job with your Shop with a Cop program. It continues to grow over the years. For those watching, that value of money changed the lives of 52 families last year. 52 kids in our community were able to have a Christmas because of the efforts of you giving and RPD and its officers graciously supporting that throughout the year. So appreciate everything that you and your officers and your whole team does to change the lives of families in our communities around the Christmas time. What a great way to raise money throughout the year and then really make an impact in the holiday season. So hats off to you guys. I know we have a lot of fun raising that money and we kid about what we do in the Dunkin' booth and things, but it all goes to a good cause. So thank you.
And let's give equal time to Brandon. He's got a fundraiser going on over at his place, and does not necessarily involve a Dunkin' booth, but they're doing a great job over there. So tell everybody what you got going on, Brandon.
Yeah, so we have a raffle and hope to draw tomorrow. Hopefully the weather we're not slammed and we'll get our drawing in tomorrow. We'll do a Facebook Live probably sometime tomorrow afternoon. But it's for our 1924 American LaFrance fire engine, our first motorized fire engine in Rutherford and Rutherford County. So we're hoping to get that restored back and make it a showpiece and a history piece for the town and the fire department. So we're excited about it. It's coming along. There should be some rear tires going on. I don't know if it'll happen this weekend, but soon. We got rear brakes repaired and had to do some special things there, but should have some rear tires going on. The front are already on. So it's moving right along.
The progress on the 1924 is coming along really, really neat. It's been fun to watch that inside the bay over there and see that come together. I mean, you guys are probably about, what would you say, Chief? Maybe at the 50% mark or so?
I would say close, getting close to 50%. Maybe not quite there, but
yeah. I mean, with rear tires this year, I don't want to put you on the spot, but do you think maybe with rear tires that even without 100% that we may see the truck in the Christmas parade this year?
I think I made that probability last year and said that, so I'll keep my hopes up and we'll work towards that goal to have that roll downtown this year.
Oh, that'd be fun to see.
We did have a question about what the raffles are for. So Clint and Brandon, do you mind to just talk about like what the raffle is, or what you're raffling, and then how much your tickets, and then if you have any tickets available for those?
Yeah, on our behalf, our tickets are $20, and it's for a Glock firearm that we're currently will be raffling off.
Yep, and our tickets are for the 1924 LaFrance, and we have 3 prizes on that. A Glock, I can't remember the numbers right off the top of my head, 19X maybe, another Glock air pistol, and then a Weber grill. So those are the 3 prizes on that, and they are $5 each or 5 for $20. And we still have those available. If you stop by today or give one of our guys a call, if you know them, get a ticket for tomorrow.
Yep. Absolutely. All right. So what we learned today is probably too much to do in a recap, but I think for me, one of the things that resonates the most is definitely prepare yourself for October the 22nd. If you see barricades out, if you see cones over the next 24 to 48 hours out and about as you're driving around town, and if you see some cones, you see some barricades, you see something road closed, and you're a little curious, please do not drive your vehicles around those and into any type of running water, or sometimes it may even be, honestly, a tree down. You might be in a blind curve where we have put up a road closed sign and there's a tree down with power lines in it, and the power company has not had the opportunity to get there yet. And unfortunately, if call volume dictates, our team, our police department, or our fire department may have to move on to another call to mitigate that. And so the road is closed and that power line could be energized. And so just be very mindful of those road closed barricades. We do try to get those done and moved out of the way as fast as possible when the hazard is cleared. Just ask you to watch out after those, and just be very vigilant during the next 24 to 48 hours as the storm comes in. Get outside, get those trash cans in, and get ready for a fun weekend. So, Chief Harold, did I hear you right? You guys are sticking with the drawing tomorrow for your raffle.
Yeah. That's what we'd advertise, so we'll stick with that date.
And people can watch that on your Facebook channel, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
We will definitely share that in the comments, the Rutherford Fire and Rescue Facebook page. Check out their members.
I think we planned on around 1 o'clock, so we'll see how that goes. The call volume may dictate that a little bit, but we'll shoot for 1 o'clock.
Awesome. Well, Chiefs, thank you for being on this morning. I hope that this weather passes us with not a whole lot of implications for your teams, and that everybody stays safe out there, that your team stays safe, that the public stays safe, and that you guys are not called for action. So let's hope for that. And definitely, like I think it was the mayor and Chief said, give a big shout out to our public works team that kind of works behind the scenes to assist everybody in that. They're out this morning working. Definitely help them, like I've said a few times, with trash cans. Get those trash cans pulled in and secured. Magnolia, any other announcements or events we need to hit before we wrap it up?
Just a reminder that obviously we talked about earlier, Hilltop is moved to October 22nd. We have the Hocus Pocus movie in the park on October 28th, along with a Halloween Fab Fest. And then our Trick or Treat on Main is Monday, October 31st.
And Mayor Dancy, next week is the first week of October, which means that it will also be the first Wednesday in October. And that means that you'll be busy there at the same seat you're in, but you'll have a gavel, right?
Correct. And I encourage, if you're unable to attend the meeting in person, you watch it live on Facebook. And we talk a lot about it, a lot of things, but it's important information that involves our town. So we encourage you to stop by or watch in and be a part of what's going on. Thank you, everybody that joins in our council meeting. And I thank council for being very adaptive to coming and being a part of our meetings and energetic in what we discuss.
Well, again, I hope everybody stays safe over the holidays, over the storm that's coming in. Look forward to a fun fall festival in a few short weeks. And I guess definitely pay attention to the fire department's Facebook page. If anybody needs tickets, I think I still got 4 or 5 left. I need to turn mine in. Magnolia, you got any tickets left?
I never got any.
Well, I'm sure that Captain Boone or Captain McDaniel or Captain Hudson or the rest of the team has got some tickets. I've got some. If you need some tickets, reach out to me. I've got a few left. I'm sure Chief Harold's got a few, or Chief Samuel's got a few before the drawing. But yeah, support that cause, and then definitely be saving your $100 like Jonah Engel, and you're going to want to come out and dunk the Chief on the 22nd.
And you.
Jonah might have a mean fastball by now. Daddy might have raised him up for that fastball.
No.
Not yet.
No.
Well, we can always let him mash the button.
He will. Whether he pays his 100 or not, I'm sure he will.
We'll make sure he pays his 100.
Yeah, out of my wallet.
We didn't say where it was going to come from.
However.
Well, as always, everybody, thank you for joining us for Brewtiful Mornings. We said it a few times. Next month is Fire Prevention Month, Fire Safety Month, and we will be back with Chief Harrell, Division Chief Craig, or I guess not Craig anymore, Birch from the fire department, and also C Shift will be on with us next week to talk about fire prevention safety. And so we're excited about that. It's going to be a fun-filled day. Unfortunately, the Fire Safety House won't be on the show, but we'll have all kinds of fire tips. And I know C Shift is working hard to get us a great show next week. So we're excited to have them on. And having Wendy on, Mrs. Birch always does a great job with her fire prevention. She's got all kinds of programs that she administers throughout the year, and can't wait to learn more about some fire safety tips next week. That next week's show will be all about fire department, and then we'll be back the week after that with another great surprise for Brewtiful Mornings. So thanks, everybody. Stay safe, stay dry, and have a wonderful weekend.
You're like a circle that floats around me, keeping me safe and sound. And when I fall, you tied a rope to me. You're blessing me every day. I was down with an illusion, like a sparrow with broken wings. But now I shine with your reflection on me. I'm getting back up on my feet. That you showed up was written in my palm. You are a statement, explode like